I'm very excited for today's vlog. As I'm sure you can tell by the title, we are reading a very anticipated book for myself. It's finally time that I crack into Daisy Hates. Now, I'm not going to pretend and lie to you guys that I haven't already started this book. I have. I immediately started it after I finished Magnolia Parks about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I have read like probably the first 70 pages of this, but now that I have the physical copy, I will be setting up my annotation key. If you're new here, thank you for joining, because I think my Magnolia Parks video, it did help a little bit with the subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe please. Hello friends. I really want to film on my big camera, but I also want to sit on my bed, which is kind of impossible to do both things at once, but we're going to figure it out, so give me a minute. This is the best we're going to get, but it's a couple days later, you guys. This book, you guys, okay, so I read I read 165 pages on Tuesday when I last talked with you guys, just because yesterday my bed broke, so I didn't have time to read, and I was really busy at work because I had to figure out, I was busy at work, and then I also had to figure out what to do with my bed, and I luckily had like an old, honestly no one cares, this book. Oh my gosh. I am having such a great time reading this. This is so much more fun than Magnolia Parks, to be honest, just because I think Daisy is way more relatable. I was getting really sick of in Magnolia Parks reading all of the outfit descriptions. I couldn't handle it. I was like, please, no more. I don't care. I think an equivalent to the outfit descriptions in Magnolia Parks in this one is the footnotes. And sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of fun. And then other times I'm just so used to just reading and like not even having to worry about a footnote that I'll get down to like the bottom of the page and realize that there's a bunch of footnotes that I didn't realize that were in the page, so I'll have to like go back up, or I'll go down to read a footnote and then lose my spot and then accidentally read like a 2 or 3 sentences ahead of where I actually was. So that's kind of annoying, but like honestly it's neither here nor there. It's kind of fine. What's really funny to me though is whenever there's pages of footnotes that are actually just half of the page, I'm like, girl, just put that up there in the book. Why is that such a long footnote? Yeah, I think that's really funny. And then also, as always, I love the typos. The typos make this a really fun read. It does make it a fun read, because I'm like, oh, hey girl. Anywho, I'm kind of at the part of the book right now where Christian has just realized that he actually kind of likes Daisy, and he's like, whoa. So that's what those feelings are. Interesting. So I'm at that part now, and I'm also at the part where Daisy and the boys, or the Lost Boys, are in Italy. So if you know, you know, but this is a fun time. Also, Christian's chapter when he realized that he liked Daisy had me cracking up. I couldn't believe how funny it was. I was like, wow, okay. Pop off, Christian. Christian is me and I am him. So I'm trying to see where it is. It's like the last thing I tabbed, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, it's just funny. Like it was just, I don't know. The jokes were good. Like this one says, read the global room, you idiots. I don't feel like being canceled today. I don't know, maybe it was like the combination of reading that so late at night and then just reading it in my head. Also, I wasn't reading it in my head. I had gotten to the point while reading this that it was just kind of funny to do a dramatic reading of it while I was reading, if that makes sense. So I was reading it out loud. in my attempted British accent, and it just made it so much funnier to read, which if you haven't done that before, please do it. Give yourself a dramatic reading. It really heightens the reading experience. But I'm having a really good time. I haven't tabbed too much just because I was trying to get like a really good ways into the book, but I do think I'm gonna start tabbing a bit more. Also because I just had lost my tabs, so I couldn't find where I put them in my room, and that's why I hadn't tabbed as much, to be honest. But I know where they are now, so we're gonna tab and we're gonna go ahead and continue reading. Also, my jacket, my sweater, my sweatshirt, I made it. Yeah, I got really attached. I'm really leaning into the whole Magnolia Parks universe. I'm just leaning into it, and I wanted to wear it for this vlog. The back of it says, how many loves do we get in a lifetime? And in the front, it just says, how's the weather's park? I can't speak. How's the weather parks? And then the back, we can see it later. Or it's actually on my Instagram, so if you don't follow me on Instagram, go look at it there. Anywho, we're gonna continue reading. It's currently 8:30 on a Thursday. So let's see how many pages we can read today. I do want to finish this weekend, so I'm having a great time. I just had to come on here. I am reading by Booklight right now, so the lighting is absolutely atrocious, and we're going to ignore that. But Christian is such a messy man, and I kind of love it. I actually really love it. I love how messy that man is. If you don't know, basically Daisy Haites is in the same time period of BJ and Magnolia in the first book of the series, but it's just from Christian's point of view now with him and Daisy. So sometimes like we'll get bits of scenes that happened in the first book, but we'll see it in Christian's point of view. And right now we're at the point of the book where they're in Greece and Christian is being messy at the dinner table. And I'm kind of here for it. It's just like, yeah, you're in a bad mood. It's, what does that mean, where, is it New York? Tiffany Pollard, who's like,
I was bored, so I ruined lunch purposely, and I had fun doing it.
Yeah. That's what it's giving with Christian. He was bored, so he ruined lunch. And I kind of love that. I don't know. I'm really enjoying this so far. I know I earlier said that I was going to read for the rest of the night, but I literally like read probably 2 pages and then went to go make dinner and watch a movie, and now it's literally like I think either 12:30 or close to 1 o'clock in the morning. But I had to come on here and just let everybody know that I'm in love with Christian. I love him, not because of what he's saying, not because of the romance that he's protruding, but quite literally because of how messy this man is. I'm in love with him. I aspire to be that messy one day. I just had to provide proof of the reading setup of my book light hanging from my shelf and my book. Finally, it's about time. Oh my gosh. I'm using my phone as my mic because the camera is so very far away from me, and I'm only assuming that I'm in focus because I don't have my contacts in. But I am now officially halfway through this book. I'm on page 219 out of 405, I think, and I'm nervous. I'm nervous. They are finally together now. They've just officially made it official. So that only leaves 200 pages of mistakes to be made. And I would give it maybe 100 pages of mistakes to be made because sure, we'll give them about 60 pages to be happily together, but something is going to happen and I know it. I don't know if I want this to be completely spoily, but I think it's the most fun for me to talk through my thoughts through this book because I have a very bad habit of immediately forgetting all of my thoughts about a book as soon as I finish reading it. So I'm going to document them. I'm also having a glass of wine. I actually am a red wine girl, but we have this white one and I wanted to try it. And with reason, I am a red wine person. I'm not really enjoying it, but she's here for the vibes. Now, initial thoughts of the first half of this book. I love Christian. We talked about this already. We really did in the middle of the night last night. Also, hello. It is Friday and it is once again nighttime because I had to work earlier today and just now sat down to read after rotting on my phone for a couple of hours. However, like we mentioned last night, I love Christian. He is so much fun. I love how messy he is, and I don't think it's new to anyone who's read this book or read at least the first book. He's a sassy man. He's a very sassy man, and I kind of like it. We are, like they say, in a sassy man apocalypse, but this one I don't hate as much. Daisy is also really fun, really funny, love her. There was a point in the book that I'm pretty sure is also a scene in Magnolia Parks, the first one, where her and, like when Magnolia and Daisy meet, and they're, I don't know, like Christian's trying to make Magnolia jealous by having Daisy with him, and Magnolia asks her how her parents are, and to which Daisy responds, dead, and then Magnolia says, cool. And then the footnote said, F her, if I didn't hate her so much, I'd laugh. That was really funny. And I have been laughing at that for literally 3 days. I read that on Tuesday. I will just randomly think about that line. How are your parents? Dead. Cool. And it makes me laugh so hard every time I think about it. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of really good bits of humor in this book so far. I think it's so much more enjoyable than Magnolia Parks, as we've already mentioned. But I think it's just because, like I also said, Magnolia wasn't as relatable, I don't think, because I was kind of like, why do we all like love her so much? I just don't get it. I don't think we're getting as much of her personality, but I think in this one we get so much of Daisy's personality and we get a lot more of her world, especially her relationship between Julian, like her brother, and then also with Romeo, and understanding, like, honestly, this book is a whole bunch of trauma bonds and soul ties. Literally every single one of them have a trauma bond together. I don't really believe in soul ties, but this book is making a very good case for them. I'm also kind of wondering how we fall in love so quickly, so immediately with everybody. I mean, I'm going to do like a whole little plot board of who loves who, because it's like BJ loves Magnolia, Magnolia loves BJ. Christian loves Magnolia, Christian loves Daisy loves Christian. Daisy loves Romeo. I'm like, what's going on? How many loves do we get in a lifetime? Actually, yeah. Let's ask that question. So yeah, I'm actually really enjoying this right now. It is Friday, and I know I said I wanted to finish reading this book this weekend, but we have plans tomorrow for doing a different video. So I'm really gonna have to hopefully get as far as I can in this book tonight because I can't read tomorrow. I really can't. I have other things I need to do tomorrow. So I think we're going to try to like push this out the rest of the night and finish this book tonight. Finish this next 200 pages tonight. I'm not a fast reader. I'm really not a fast reader. And sometimes I try to read out loud, be like, can I speak? And the answer is no. I literally cannot read out loud. I don't know what happened. Also, another note that really isn't important at all, but I don't like this copy of this book. I was like, why is this book tattered so easily? And I think it's just the way this book was printed. I don't like how it was printed. My first one, Magnolia Parks, is by the same publisher, but it's so floppy, and this one is not floppy at all. The like sides of the paperback are peeling, the corners are already kind of messed up, and the worst part, my spine is cracked. I hate cracking my spines. I hate it so much. I like my books to look like they haven't been read. I like for them to look like they haven't been touched. And yet somehow I've picked up this book probably a handful of times and it seems like it's been with me for a year. Yeah, I really don't enjoy this. I'm really hoping that the next 2 copies or 3 copies, I guess, aren't printed the same way, but I'm pretty sure they are because the Magnolia Parks that I have is probably like a print from 2 years ago, and I think this is a pretty recent one, so it's kind of a unfortunate bummer, but I'll have to get over it. But yeah, I'm not really loving how this book is printed, but I'm loving the actual book. So let's get back to it. If you didn't get that, that was my silent review of how much I love this with about 50 pages left of the book. This book is leaps and bounds better, in my opinion, than Magnolia Parks, purely because there's just so much happening in it. It's giving plot, like there's a lot of plot here. And I feel like with Magnolia Parks, it was still kind of discovering what it was, still learning the people and learning the characters, which is completely fair for a first book. I think this one is just so well thought out. I think the characters are more well formed, the relationships are more well formed, there's more emotional stakes than there were in Magnolia Parks. It was like, these are these 2 people, they love each other, they're horrible to each other, let's watch what happens, you know. And there weren't like a lot of emotional stakes in there. But this one, we are up and down, left and right, in a circle, and it's just so much fun to read because there's stakes. There's actually like something at risk here. Anyhow, this is really good and I'm really enjoying myself, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish it. I'm at a part of the book where I'll do like a big spoiler here, okay, you guys, because I want to say where I'm at. So if you don't want to hear that part, you're not there yet, and you're reading along with me and you're not there yet, like, go ahead and skip. I'm at the part where Romeo and Daisy have broken up once again, or like stopped doing whatever they were doing after her and Christian broke up. And that was actually breaking my heart. Actually, it was kind of crazy. I don't know, I did a dramatic reading once again of the argument Romeo was having with Daisy at the point in the bathroom when he was like, what are we doing? Like, yeah, what are you doing? And Daisy is just so distraught, and I kind of love her. I love her because I'm like, yeah, I feel you, 100% valid, because if I too constantly had to fight for my survival, I would also burn the whole house down in order for me to survive. I'm sorry. Yeah, like I'm sick of this. Like when you compound my life always being in danger, thus making it to where I can never be with people I actually want to be with, the people that I want to be with not wanting to be with me, and then people that I actually do kind of like constantly letting me down. Yeah, you compound all of that together with being trapped and having a shadow. I'm going to burn down the house when I'm angry. I'm sorry. Like, when I've had enough, I've had enough. And I'm taking everybody down with me. So I respect Daisy's choice in doing that. But yeah, so basically I'm at the part now where her and Declan have hooked up again after a couple of years. After Romeo left, and she hooked up with Declan, and now Julian's back, and I think he's about to put the pieces together that Declan and Daisy hooked up, and I had to put the camera on because I think it's gonna be really good. Anyhow, let's see what happens. Just as I thought. I know he knows I know. I kind of love the idea that a lot of the people in here, okay, I won't say a lot, but I love whenever someone is just letting themselves be beat up, you know what I mean? Because it's such an act of defeat, and it's just like, yeah, I deserve this, and I'm not even gonna try to fight back about it. It's just such good imagery. I'm like, yeah. It's so good. I eat that up. That's my who did this to you. It really is my who did this to you. Like, just letting yourself be beat up. I don't know. It's just, I have no words for it. It's just really good. Okay, this is why I like it. It says this. First he tried to get away, but then he sort of just stopped, which made me angrier because I know that means he knew it was wrong. That is why I like it so much, because it's just kind of like, it's two-way street. It's like you admitting that you are wrong, you admitting that you're willing to accept this defeat and like take this beating, and then it's on the other hand for the person who's angry and like giving it to you, it's just so deflating. It deflates you because it's like, oh, it's not even worth being angry about because you're just going to accept it, and now everything that I do feels dramatic. And I'm just like, oh. It's the master way of manipulation, in my opinion, if that's like how you want to fight. Like, it's kind of like a no-win-win situation where, I don't know, it just takes the wind out of your wings whenever you want to be angry at somebody and they're just willing to accept it, and you can't actually be your full amount of angry at them because they're just accepting it. Like, fight back. Anyhow, that's how I feel about that. And then also another really interesting part about this, especially for Daisy, is the fact that she has so many people fighting for her honor that it has to be so frustrating to where it's like any amount of anger, annoyance that I share is a small amount of ungratefulness as well. And it's so exhausting. It's exhausting. It's like, I'm not being ungrateful, but I would like for there to be less fighting in my honor. It's just so exhausting. I don't know. I don't know. It's good. Oh my gosh. In all my years of living here, which is literally my entire life, I've never heard children outside playing. And just recently, I'm assuming that there's been more like new families moving into our neighborhood, and I hear children playing outside all the time now, like all the time. And at first it was kind of annoying because I was like, oh, my peace and quiet, it's gone. And then second time I was like, oh, you know what, this is actually kind of sweet. Like, it's kind of nice to be able to hear people outside enjoying outside nature and not just sitting inside on their phones all the time. And then there are times where I'm like, that is scary. Where is that child's laughter coming from? You know what I mean? It's giving I watch too many horror movies, but you know what I mean when I say, like, sometimes hearing children laugh is scary. Anyhow. Speechless. I actually have no words. That's how I feel. Everyone needs therapy so badly. And I feel like I need it too now. I feel like I've just been broken up with. I feel like my heart has just been trampled on. I feel like I will never know a greater love in my entire life as well. I'm speechless. I'm hurt. I'm betrayed. And I'm in love. Yeah, that was really fun. That was so good. Let me collect my thoughts. Okay, we're back. It is the next day. I did need to take the rest of the night last night to collect my thoughts, reframe my mind into, okay, this was just a book and I'm not actually heartbroken. But you guys, this was so much fun to read. I am pretty sure this is going to be a 5-star read for me, or it is a 5-star read for me, purely because it was just such a good time and I loved all of the characters, especially Daisy and Christian, which, duh, they are the main characters in this book, but also I just loved getting to know more about their connection and then the relationships that they have, not with just each other, but with the people around them. I will say that there were some parts of the book that felt a bit rushed, and unfortunately, it was parts that I would have loved to see more, or loved to have a bit more in the scene about, especially towards the end. There is a very, very big moment, and if you know what it is, you know what I'm talking about. But there's a very big moment towards literally like the last 30 pages of the book. It kind of feels like Jessa was trying to hurry up and finish the book, which is kind of sad because it was a really good scene that I would have loved to see from the other perspective. Now I'm hoping maybe we'll get it in like the next book, but I'm not too sure just because I don't like to go into books knowing too much what they're about. But this one really took the cake for me. I had such a great time. Honestly, just a very good time reading this. And also, another thing that I really loved about this book is that I don't feel like we were so wrapped up in the flowery nature of writing and we're more focused on the actual development of the story and development of the characters and how they interact with each other. Whereas I feel like in Magnolia Parks, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before, I felt like while the writing was nice and while the metaphors used to create imagery was really interesting, I did feel like it took away from the story a lot because it was just very difficult to understand where we were in the story. Sometimes we were so inside of the characters' minds and not really well placed in the environment that they were actually in during the situation, that it was so hard to just understand physically where I am in the situation or in the room, which is something I really need when I'm reading, because I like to think of things as a movie. I see them as a movie in my mind, and I need to be able to place the characters and their blocking for said scene. And when we don't have that blocking in the book, it's so hard to just fully immerse myself into it. And also, I will say the difference in this one than, of course, in Magnolia Parks is that this one I feel more easily placed as the main character. Like, I feel it's much easier for me to feel like I'm Daisy, whereas in Magnolia Parks, it very much so felt like I was watching Magnolia and BJ self-destruct. And this one also, I think Daisy is such a really interesting character because she kind of is like the I've only grown up around boys, I don't really understand how to be friends with a female or with a woman, which I hate when people call women females, but it's kind of like her persona where I haven't been around a lot of feminine energy, so I really don't know how to interact with them. But I don't think it's in a negative way, like sometimes it could be like in a pick-me way, but I really don't think that. I think it's just the way that she's had to live and grow. And I think it's a very interesting perspective to get to see because I definitely don't live that kind of way, but it was nice to see Daisy and how determined she is to survive and how she is a very morally right kind of person, even though she has her morally gray moments. But this was really good. I could go on for quite a while about how much I loved this. But if you haven't read Magnolia Parks, Daisy Haites, I definitely recommend. This one is, like I said, a 5-star read for me. Definitely better than Magnolia Parks for me. And I'm really hoping that the series just continues to get better. I am now able to buy the next book, but I do think I'm going to wait because there are a couple of other books on my shelf that I want to read. I will say, at the end of the book, it ends with Daisy and Christian, right? And then we have like kind of like an epilogue, but like not really an epilogue, and it goes back into Magnolia's point of view, where I was like, okay, get her out of here. I was like, I'm not in the headspace to listen to Magnolia right now. I had to take a break before I read Magnolia's like little epilogue part because I was like, my world has just been crushed by Daisy and Christian. I don't care about Magnolia right now. Yeah, I'm hoping maybe in the next one, because I know the next one is Magnolia Parks, back in like her perspective and point of view. I'm hoping it's still good. I'm hoping I really enjoy it, but I do know that Daisy and Christian are my bread and butter. I am locked in on them. I don't know. I just and Christian was just so good because it was like, honestly, every character in this entire world story book is in self-preservation mode. That's literally what it is. Like, they all are like, okay, I cannot take another hit. I really can't take another hit. And they will do anything, go out swinging to everybody else so that way they don't get that hit. And it's just like really rewarding when they finally are like, okay, let me take my guard down a little bit and realize that they were actually fighting ghosts. That was my reading vlog for Daisy Haites. Stay tuned for the next one for Magnolia Parks. I believe The Long Way Home. It's gonna be a minute before I read it. Probably not until like towards the end of April, but I'm very excited and I'm very happy. I love that I've been so wrong about this series. I actually love that for me. I love that sometimes I tend to be a hater before I'm a lover, which I'm like, it happens every time where I'm like, I hate on something so bad and then I actually just cave and read it or watch it or try it, and then I end up becoming obsessed with it. It's truly my best and worst quality. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please don't forget to like and comment down below, I don't know, a daisy. Yeah, do the daisy emoji, or I don't know, something else that you see on this. Put it in the comments below if you made it this far. And then also please don't forget to subscribe. I really hope you liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one.